afternoon. We're glad that you're here with us today. It's a wonderful part of the Christmas season to sing carols, and it was really hard to do last year. In fact, we weren't able to do that, but this year we are able to do it. Our policy is when we have children with us under the age of 12, we do ask you to mask. So we do have extra masks outside. And for those of you interested for our Christmas Eve services, you can take one of these cards with you. We have a 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and a 10 o'clock service here at Westside. We're glad you're here. Let us make a joyful noise to the Lord as we prepare to celebrate the birth of Christ together.
Now, I would think that the Lord would love the sound of bells. Does anybody have keys in their pocket? You all got here with a car. Or maybe fobs don't do it. I don't know. If you have something that rings, it could ring. We are going to start with, we're going to get you warmed up with a bit of Jingle Bells. Not all the verses, there are like 17 of them. We're not going to take the horse all the way through the whole thing. We're just going to do what you'll see on your screens in front of you. That's just a tiniest bit of stuff to get you warmed up. I'm going to have to make you work a little harder because it is not a winter wonderland outside. It seems to be about 60 degrees. Is it pretty warm out there? It's easy to get here without freezing. So we need to get into the festive winter spirit with a little bit of Winter Wonderland. And I think you could stand. It's getting colder. Have a seat. We're fortunate to have some notable talent here, and I'm going to let Gay Grannon help us get a little closer to the reason we're here.
Ring out, wild bells, to the wild sky, the flying cloud, the frosty light. The year is dying in the night. Ring out, wild bells, and let him die. Ring out the old, ring in the new. Ring happy bells across the snow. The year is going, let him go. Ring out the false, ring in the true. Ring out the grief that saps the mind, for those that here we see no more. Ring out the feud of rich and poor. Ring in redress to all mankind. Ring out a slowly dying cause and ancient forms of party strife. Ring in the nobler modes of life with sweeter manners, purer laws. Ring out the want, the care, the sin, the faithless coldness of the times. Ring out my mournful rhymes, but ring the fuller minstrel in. Ring out false pride in place and blood, the civic slander and the spite. Ring in the love of truth and right. Ring in the common love of good. Ring out old shapes of foul disease. Ring out the narrowing lust of gold. Ring out the 1,000 years of old. Ring in the 1,000 years of peace. Ring in the valiant man and free, the larger heart, the kindlier hand. Ring out the darkness of the land. Ring in the Christ that is to be.
Ding dong, merrily
quite sure that there is a hymnal near everybody. If you would find your blue hymnal and turn to hymn 41. It's a chief carol of the season. It's been with us for for centuries. And actually, our hymnal got it wrong. We're going to sing all 3 verses, but we're going to sing verse 1, then verse 3, and then verse 2. Yea, Lord, we greet thee should be the last verse. So we're going to do it right, even though they got it wrong. We can make it better. And I invite you to stand. We're going to take a trip to that little town of Bethlehem. Hymn 44. And while I would love to sing every verse of every carol, we're not going to, because we do not want to be inside altogether for too long, just enough. So we're going to sing verse 1 and 4. And let's do both verses in parts, 1 and 4 in parts. And if you want to sing parts too, they'll help you, so go right ahead. Verse 4 especially makes a wonderful prayer for all of us this Christmastide. And we'll conclude this portion with It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, hymn 38. What? Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the baby in the manger. So we're going to go to hymn 25, not 24 as it says in your list, choir. Hymn 25. Oh, how could we forget the baby in the manger? That's the reason for the season. Hymn 25, and we'll sing verses 1 and 3. And don't try to sing it in parts, it's crazy. It's a bit, just enjoy the good old tune that you've known since you were tiny child. And we'll sing verses 1 and 3. Now that we've rocked the baby to sleep, let's look out on that midnight clear with hymn 38. We'll sing verses 1 and 4.
A frosty Christmas Eve, when the stars were shining, fared I forth alone where westward falls the hill. And from many a village in the watered valley, distant music reached me, peals of bells a-ringing. The constellated sounds ran sprinkling on earth's floor as the dark vault above with stars was spangled o'er. Then sped my thoughts to keep that first Christmas of all, when the shepherds watching by their folds ere the dawn heard music in the fields, and marveling could not tell whether it were angels or the bright stars singing. But to me, heard afar, it was starry music, angels' song, comforting, as the comfort of Christ, when he spoke tenderly to his sorrowful flock. The old words came to me by the riches of time mellowed and transfigured, as I stood on the hill, hearkening in the aspect of the eternal silence.
The choir will help to bring us into that place where the angels sang. And choir, you can come down and get to your places. And I've asked Lynn Mornowek to assist me because I can't be in two places at once. Well, I try really hard, but it doesn't work. And if you listen really hard at the end, you might hear the angels singing. And so you get to join in now. Find hymn 23 in your hymnals. Whoops. It's well known, and I think it's time for you to stand. Because how can you sing Gloria in Excelsis Deo without standing and giving it all of your heart? We're going to sing verses 1, 2, and 3. So normal places for harmonies in unison, choir. Standing, turn to page 29, and we're going to join the shepherds in sharing the good news with Go Tell It on the Mountain. We'll sing verses 1 and 3. And choir, let's do, do what you want. Stay standing yet again. Hark the Herald, verses 1 and 3. That's number 31. For some of us, this might be the only chance we get to be angels. But for some of you, you've been doing it a long time. And take a seat. You have earned your rest. I neglected to mention that our soloists on the Sussex Carol, which is a very familiar carol in England, not as familiar over here, but gaining ground, and rightly so. Our soloists were Lisa Bremer and Amy Spiegel. We're going to trim the hall a little bit because every hall needs to be gotten ready for the celebrations. So you'll pay attention to the screens for Deck the Hall. Be festive. You too.
Thank you.
gloomy night embraced the place the noble infant lay. The babe looked up and showed his face. In spite of darkness, it was day. It was thy day, sweet, and did rise not from the east, but from thine eyes. Poor world, said I, what wilt thou do to entertain this starry stranger? Is this the best thou canst bestow, a cold and not too cleanly manger? Contend, ye powers of heaven and earth, to fit a bed for this huge birth. Welcome all wonders in one sight, eternity shut in a span, summer in winter, day in night, heaven in earth, God in man. Great little one, whose all-embracing birth lifts earth to heaven, stoops heaven to earth.
Our next carol really isn't a carol, but it is aligned with the season. It is number 40 in your hymnals. And it is one of the most widely known carols around the world. We're going to sing verses 1, 3, and 4. And we will stand in just a moment. But I don't even think it really does Christmas imagery, but it does all of the things that we need to remember in terms of Christmas. So pay attention to the words. Sing them, don't sing them mindlessly, because we sometimes do that, running through the malls. We go, deck the halls with bells of holly, blah, 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 blah. I need some more, you know. And we don't always pay attention. I'd like you to pay attention to the words, verses 1, 3, and 4. Choir, parts on 1 and 3, unison on 4. Have a seat. You guys are starting to sound good. We should stay another 2 hours. I took a look at how many Christmas carols and hymns there were, and it filled several pages worth. And then I found an old, and this is like maybe 40 years old, compendium of Christmas carols from around the world, and it was more than 210 pages. So we could fill the rest of this year with singing Christmas carols and hymns and not repeating anything, and we'd probably be dead by January 1st, but that's okay. What would a carol sing be without one of my favorite non-sacred carols? And it might be one of yours, and if it is, good. And if it isn't, don't tell me. But it always puts me in the mood, and I saw the movie for it a couple of weeks ago, and it just went, yes, Christmas is coming. Let's enjoy the season. We can stand for White Christmas. I'm going to invite the choir to come down. They have a final offering before we're able to go out and enjoy a little bit of festivity in the narthex. We hope you'll all join us. A year ago, we couldn't do this. A year ago. How far we've come. We still have pretty far to go. But how far we've come that we could be here and doing this and singing together and being with each other and being community, which is what Christ wants of us. Being there for each other, lifting our voices in song, working to fill food banks, all of these things. And we are grateful to be able to sing together. So the choir's got a one piece, yes? Yes? Okay. Oh, yeah, I don't have it on my brain. And then would you join us afterwards in the narthex?